Okay, welcome everyone to a new Masechta Sanhedrin. It's exciting Masechta. It's a very, very geschmack Masechta. A few reasons. Predominantly, it's very interesting. It has a lot of Agadata, but very famous Agadata. But more importantly, for me, there's a sefer called Margolius Hayom. This is written by Rav Ruvain Margolis, who was an incredibly interesting person. He was a huge Talmud Chacham, and he's malakate so many different things, midrashim, Zohar, and so over the course of the Masechta, we'll be bringing in some interesting stuff. As a matter of fact, we may even begin the Masechta with this. So Sanhedrin, we know there's basically three types of Sanhedrin. There's a regular monetary Sanhedrin, which is 3 people. Then there's a capital punishment Sanhedrin Katana, which is 23. Then there's Sanhedrin Gedol in Yerushalayim, which was a total lot of 71. The Torah calls.
You're recording?
Yeah, I'm recording. Yeah, there's a. I'll need a chumash summit this evening. Yeah. So okay, and there's one right here. Thank you.
We got it.
Yeah. There's Penny. I'm scared you might come back.
Yeah.
Is that recorded? Give me a zing. Can I get a Z? Just one Z.
Anyway, so it's interesting enough. We'll see later on in the course of the daf that a dayan is called Elohim. The Nikra Balabayas Elohim. The dayan is called Elohim, which is the Rabbi Shalom. It's kind of funny why you call them the Rabbi Shalom. They sat in the Lishkas Hagozis. They sat in the Beis Hamikdash proper. Like a makam. It's very interesting that there's that the role of a dayan is think about it, really keeping the law, keeping Hashem's emissary in the world to make sure the Torah is kept. So we'll see Bez Hashem a beautiful Torah Chaim, which I sent out. I sent out a little piece. It's a tiny little piece. If you look, I don't think everyone has it. Mamish, where does the name Sanhedrin come from? What does Sanhedrin mean? So you'll say courts, right? Why the name Sanhedrin? It seems to be a bit of an odd name. You go to Bezdin. Let's learn Masechta Bezdin, right? Masechta Bezdin. Not Masechta Sanhedrin, right? You're dealing with a Bezdin, right? So it's Sanhedrin. So if you look, I sent out a little small piece. It's in fact it's a camera. I mean it's a camera. It's a photo. It's a photo. I'm quoting. Listen to the source, fellas. It's a Rav in Masechta Sota, Perik Tes, Mishnah Yud Aleph. And he brings in Sanhedrin over there. And if you look, where it says Pirush Mishnayos LeRambam, if you go up 3 lines, it says V'nikra Sanhedrin. Why is it called Sanhedrin? Shesoinim Hadris Onim Badin. Sanhedrin stands for take the samech, make into a sin. Soine, they hate. Hadras Panim Badin, showing favoritism in din. Sanhedrin, Soine, Hadras Panim Badin. That's the trik and the contraction of 4 words. That's where the word Sanhedrin comes from, according to a Rav in Sota. So that's a very fascinating idea. That's one thing. Okay. Masechta begins, and right away you go to Taisvis, and Taisvis, it's interesting. We'll begin the Masechta with Taisvis. So Taisvis, right? No,
And Rashi's on.
Right, and we're back to Rashi. That's another reason to be very happy, right? We got Rashi. We're back to Rashi. If you look at often the Gemara tries to figure out why a certain Masechta is placed after another Masechta. Why is that? So if you look at Taisvis says very, very succinctly, Dini Maminis Bishleisha, it says Dini Maminis is Bishleisha, says Taisvis, Acher Shana Dinim Betilsa Bavi, once we learn the Dinim in the 3 Bavis, Baba Kaba Mitzia and Baba Basra, once we learned then, so Mashme'inu Bekama Danim, my son, we're told how many you need to judge him. So in other words, now that you know the laws, now let's put them into effect. And that seems to be, according to Taisus, the reason why Sanhedrin follows the 3 Bavis. 3 Bavis clearly are one Masechta. Kulu Neziki Kala Masechta. And now the Taisus is suggesting a reason why. And he's saying, once you know what the din is, okay, so now let's apply it. And we segue into Sanhedrin. So in the Sefer Magalas Hayom, he brings down 2, I'm going to read, he brings the Shita of Rav Shira Gaon, and he brings the Rambam. And Rav Shira Gaon says the following. and this is the quote from the Lashon. It's in Igeres of the Shri Regoim. Le'inyan Mesachta the Chazisan. It's in Aramaic. The Isbehun Muktam. You see in Mesachta that why you put someone's before the other ones. Rabbi had sidrein masnisan. When Rabbi was Masada the Mishnayos, lo sadrino lemesechta. God the basachai varta. He didn't put it in order. This is Shri Regoim. Rabbi did not put the Mesechtas in order. Elachad echad Tanya ba'apei nafsha. He learned each one separately. Below yadin and high ton of we don't know which he learned first. This is Shri Regoim. V'isman denichalei lakdume elachure. So in other words, you're not limited to learning Rachis, Shabbos, Erevin. You don't have to learn any order. You can learn any Masechta at any time. You're not subject to order because it will, in my own words, knowledge of one Masechta will necessitate knowledge of another Masechta. In truth, you have to know every single Masechta to know how to learn everything, but there's no special order. Now, he asked the kasha, and any one of you could have asked it if you remember the Gemara in Nazir and the Gemara in the beginning of Saita or in Shvuas, which we'll see soon. The Afagav the Chazina Mesachta the Kamrinon Michti Tana Mesechta Ploinis Solik Kagoy Mesechta Saita the Kamrinon B'Talmuda Michti Tana Mesechta Nazir Kasalik. He stopped learning Mesechta Nazir. Kagoy Mesechta Shvuas the Kamrinon Michti Tana Makas Solik. Alma de Seder. In other words, the Gemara is asking, why did Saita follow Nazir? So you know that anyone who saws a Nazir b'kilkul, a Saita b'kilkuloi should go ahead and stay away from wine. So you see how she's asking a question on himself. How can you say there's no Seder? You see the Gemara asked, why does one Masechta follow another one? And now we're missing the rest of his letter. That's it. He asked the kash on himself. And v'hine chasei tshuvas hagoyin al zeh. We're missing the tshuva. V'yitachin says Rav Umir Agolas Atzal shedaita ki mesechtas shaloi poirish b'talmid tam sedura hoshustak du melchure. In other words, the ones that we're told what order to learn, so you should learn in that order. You should learn Nazir before Saita. You should learn Makis before Shvuas. But the ones that aren't told, you love Dafka. Now the Rambam, this is fascinating, fellas. Here's the Pirush HaMishnayos on the Rambam. Listen to what he says. He says, what's the order? Sharabenu HaKodesh ba'archoi higdim b'chol seder elu ha'mesechtais, the Nafesh Malayo, the ones that had more chapters. Meirois seder ha'mesechtais hakalelis harbe prakim v'achrei kain ha'mesechtais ketanas. So you started off large and you worked your way down. Kamo b'seder moed. Let's look at seder moed. All right. B'rishayne Shabbos hakalelis chaf dalet prakim. Shabbos is right. Achra Erevin, which is 10 prakim. Achra is Psachim, which is 10 prakim. Shkalim is Hey prakim, is Ches prakim, 8 prakim. Yuma, 8 prakim. Sukkah, 5 prakim. Beitza, 5 prakim. Rosh Hashanah, 4 prakim. Tainus, 4 prakim. Megillah, 4 prakim. Moed Katan, Gimel prakim. Chigigel, Gimel prakim. So in other words, the Rambam says the order is based upon what? The amount of prakim, of the prakim. Fascinating. Right. Kain b'Seder Nashim. Indeed, in Seder Nashim, you find the same thing. Sheberoishay Masechta Yavamis Kalelis Tesvav Perek. You have 15 prakim in Yavamis. Achrei Ksubis is Yud Gimel is 13. The Darim is Yud Aleph is 11. Nazir is Tes. Saiter is Tes. Gittin is Tes. All 9. Well, B'Seiv Kedushin is which is Dalet prakim. Will be the first perek has 42 blot in it. But whatever. I'm saying this is the order of the Rambam. Ukimoy came b'Seder Nezikin. Shenoida ki hasholish bavas kama mitzia basra heinon chadam mesechta. They're all one mesechta, so it's 30 prakim, guys. That gives you 30 prakim because the one mesechta 10, 10, and 10. They'll give us 30 prakim. And afterwards, Sanhedrin. Why? Because which includes Makis. So if you take the 10 prakim of Sanhedrin and you put the 3 prakim of Makis in it, you get 13. He said that he brings a source that Makis is part of Sanhedrin. And really, if you learn Masechta Makis, you'll see. So a little, just nothing to do with the Masechta per se, just going ahead and defining the word Sanhedrin, what it means. Saine Hadras Panim Bedin. The Taisus Yantu says it's Aramaic. Why it follows? According to the Rambam, it's based upon the amount of prakim that you have. And this has 13 versus the Bavis, which is 30. And Taisus gives us an insight. Taisus states that once you know the din, let's apply them. Okay? So with that in mind, The first Mishnah is the whole parak in Mishnayos. In other words, if you look in Mishnayos, it's broken up to I don't know, 9 Mishnayos, and they all come one after the other. And here it's incorporated, and then the rest of the parak is going to go ahead and explain this Mishnah. In this Mishnah, fellas, there's chock full of information. And there's most of it you know. Some will fine tune, but I'll explain quickly as possible each one. Okay, so let's begin. And Hatzlacha Rabbah. If you join now, you will be making a siyum v'chayris by Pesach. Again, you're going to finish like a week before Pesach. You're going to have a bunch of people making it.
No problem.
This year, no problem with siyum this year. Okay, says the Mishnah. Dinei Ma'aminis b'shleisha. Dinei Ma'aminis is with 3 dayanim. Gezelos v'chavalois is b'shleisha. Gezelos, Rashi tells us, is if someone gives you something to watch, and then you comes and says, "Where is it?" and you claim that you never got it, that's a type of gezela, and more sophisticated. And then pashut gezela is where you go and take it. You take it. V'chavalois is damaging somebody else, stealing from that person himself. B'shleisha, that's also 3. We're going to focus, tonight's staff is going to focus on why the lashon is kind of funny. Dinei Ma'aminis, it says 3. It then says Gezelos v'chavalos 3. Why didn't they combine together? What is Dinei Ma'aminis? That's going to be the crux of today's Gemara. But until we get there, guys, just more information one after the other. Nezek, that's when an animal damages, right? Muad damages from Baba Kama. Chatzi Nezek, where a tam damages Baba Kama. Tashlume Kefel, Perik Meruba, that's when a person steals and key, not that, and it's found in his Rishus, and it's found in his Rishus, Chaim Shnai Mishalim, Tashlumi Arba V'chamisha. When you steal and you sell or shech a nax, you're going to pay 5. A sheep, you'll pay 4. Ha'aynis, the person is ma'anis, a woman who's not married, you're going to go ahead and pay 50 shkalim, and you have to marry her if she wants, and you can't ever divorce her. Mefata, the same halacha, except you talked her into it rather than forced. Maitzi Shemra, you get married. The 12-month period between kedushin and nisuin, and you accuse, and in doing that, you marry her and you accuse her of not being a basula, and it turns out she was a basula, and you were trying to get out. 100 shkalim, 50 aynis, 50 mefata, 100. All these cases are b'shleisha divrei Reb Meir. So now Reb Meir is going, The that din of Moitzi Shemra, fellas, is with 23. If we find guilty that in fact she had gone ahead and been mizana during this period, then she was an Ashes Ish, and Ashes Ish is what? She's an Iris, but Skila. An Ashes Ish is, I think, Chenek. You're going to kill him. I think it's Chenek. We're going to see. You're going to see Elian Nachim. You'll see in Masechta exactly who gets what. But so, since the possibility leads to capital punishment, we'll start the case off with 23 rather than with 3. And again, the Gemara will explain the machlokes between Rameh and the Chachamim, where Rameh says 3, and the Chachamim say initially with 23. Makas b'shleisha, giving makas for people over alav, chaza, shatness. You're going to go ahead and with 3 dayanim. You're going to give out 23. Makas is a little shtickle like misa. In other words, it's something that you're taking away from the person. It has that capacity, that component of inflicting damage on an individual. Like Rashi says, Malchus is Malchus Aboyim, time to Bishmael, Rabban, and the Gemara is going to explain. Okay. Iba HaChodesh B'Shleisha. Now we all know that's what from Masechta Rosh Hashanah, but we can be reminded that basically the year exists 354 in a lunar year plus a little bit, and basically if you have to go ahead and in order to get to 354, some months have to be chaser, meaning Rosh Chodesh will be on the 30th day, and the month is 29 days. Some months will be 30 days, and Rosh Chodesh will be on the 31st day, right? So when you decide which month is which, by Kiddush Levana, by the Mekadosh Demoilid, that is done by 3 dayanim.
So they don't come the 30th day, they come then on the 30th.
Automatically.
Then the
31st, yeah.
They make a.
Automatically, it's
But
Rosh
that-
Chodesh.
That's what they're talking about, this Eber is making that, right? Or is it talking to the people coming to be made on the 30th?
Ibra Chodesh, I think is I just figuring it out. I don't think it's been Abra. The Gemara is going to explain. It says the Gemara is going to explain. But Ibra the Shana that is okay. Ibra Shana is when do you make a leap year? So how does it work out? We keep the lunar calendar, but the lunar calendar is within the solar year. In other words, we count days, but it doesn't change the mitzias of the world. The mitzias is that it takes 365 days to go ahead to rotate around the sun. So every year, basically, you're losing 11 days and a bit. 365 minus 354, 11 days. So within 3 years, you lost 33 days, a month. In other words, if you would never go ahead and change the calendar, Pesach will be in September eventually. I think Ramadan, they don't.
The Muslims don't touch it.
They don't touch the calendar, so it's always it's never the same place. But we know that it has to be, and the Gemara is going to discuss it. It's a difficult Gemara, as a matter of fact. It's going to discuss exactly how you know when that the kufa has to be in a certain aviv. It has to be basically you have to bring the carbon oimer from barley, and it has to be ripe. So if the barley is not ripe, kind of know that it's too early. That's why the Iber is always Adar, because you're looking, because Nisan is the point you're starting. You're starting the point is Nisan. You got to bring the carbon over on the 16th day of Nisan. So therefore, you're going to wait, and then Adar. That you're going to once Adar, then you're going to go ahead, and that's done by 3. That's done by 3. Divrei Remeya. However, Reb Shimon Gamliel says something interesting. B'shloisha maschilin, you begin with 3. And you dialogue with 5. And you complete the process b'shiva, 3, 5, 7. Then gomer begimel muberes. And if you do it 3, it works. Okay, Gemara again, guys. This is all the Mishnah, and everything's mefarish b'Gemara, farish b'Gemara. Smichas zekenim. Okay, now this is not so well known unless you learn Masechta Haryos, unless you did Vayikra Daled well, that there are kabbanis besides the Yom Kippur that you bring inside the Kodesh. Inside the Kodesh. You're going to sprinkle dam in front of the proiches, and you're going to go ahead and put the blood on the Mizbeach Hazav. One of them is the Par Helen Davashel Tzibor, where Bezdin blew a psak, and it's a psak that you be chayiv kares. And then you went ahead and acted upon that. Klal Yisrael acted upon this psak. So usually a chatas is bought from a female. Here you're going to bring a bull, you're going to bring a male, and Helam Dover means it was hidden. The Dover was hidden. And that's Smicha Sekanim, the Sekanim, the Ben Sanhedrin, they have to be soimech on the animal. That's with 3. Barifes Egla, Bishleisha, Egla Rufa, which you find a dead body in between 2 cities. The measuring guys, the measuring, not the decapitation can be done, doesn't have to be done by members of Bezdin. But the measuring to ascertain which city is closer, and it's going to have to bring the Egla Arufa in a valley that hasn't been used. That's done by 3 also. So Divrei Rebbe, these are the words of Rebbe. These are the words of Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Yehuda Omer. Rabbi Yehuda says b'chamisha 5. Hachalitza, if someone refuses to do yibum, and he has to he decides to do chalitza, that's with 3. V'hamiyunin is also b'shleisha with 3. Miyun, again, we're familiar with that, but let's just go over it. That a man midaraisa can marry his daughter off when she's a katana. A man midaraisa can marry his daughter off when she's a katana, right? Speaking to Sati Elish Hazeh. However, if he dies, the concern is that this young girl won't have any protection, so he wanted to get married. So midrabanan, we allowed her to get married al yidei her mother, or what? But now since she's a katana, and they can't be makadosh her, the kedushin is only derabanan in nature. Thus, as long as she's not a naira, she can refuse the marriage without a get. That's called miyun. That's what number 3. Again, that's what I say. There's a bunch of information over here, one after the other. All of it you're familiar with, but it's good chazara. Neta Ravoy. Neta Ravoy is the 4th year of a tree's life, a fruit-bearing tree, right? Usually, first 3 years is what is Orla, it's Asa Bahana, and the 4th year what? It is what? Good. And if you want to go ahead and be Mechalalit, you want to go ahead and you have to eat in Yerushalayim, so the worth is ascertained by Bezdin. In other words, how much money you're spending. Only if you don't, right? Right. But Netter Avayu Maisa Sheni, and we're adding She'ain Domav Yeduin. You don't need Bezdin to go, hey, how much is peaches selling for in the marketplace today? You go to the marketplace to figure out the price, right? So it's this case where you don't know. Rashi says that, let's say they ratted out a little bit, they went bid a little bit, and that's the case where you would know, and Memela, you need a Bezdin of 3. Hegdeshos, regarding ascertaining Hegdish should be paid the Hegdish by Erchin Metaltalin. The Erchin of Metaltalin will explain in the Gemara. The Shleisha, that's done with 3. One of them has to be a kohen. The kohen has to, when it comes to Hegdish, the Erchin, it has to be a kohen. For Karkois, Tisha kohen 10. Karkois is done with 10 people. That's 9 and a kohen. And when it comes to a person and figuring out what the worth of a person is, he was Magdish himself, let's say, you need 10 people and one of them should be a kohen. Okay, that is all the din of 3. Up to that point is you've dealt with 3s. Okay, we dealt with 3s. Now we're going to deal with 23s. Dinei nefashos, capital punishment. Skila, Sreifa, Hereg, Bechenek. This capital punishment is be'esrim v'shleisha is with 23. That's with 23. Hareveya, if a woman has an animal doing avera with her, the hanirva, or an animal that had a man doing avera with her, the yes and b'shleisha, that's going on the animal, guys. That's going on the animal. Kamisas abal kachmisas hashar. That's going on the animal. Once you said dinei nefasha is with 23, the male we know a person who is mizana with an animal, that's dinei nefashas. It's not going on the person, it's going on the animal. So Reveya is the male animal, and Nirva is the female animal. Shenemar, it says V'harakta esa isha v'esa behema. If a woman does nus, you're going to kill the woman and the animal. V'oimer, and regarding a man, it says v'esa behema ta'roigu. If a man is mizana with an animal, you're going to kill the animal. And then the Gemara's Gedarshan, Kamisas abayim kach misas hashar. Shor niskol, that's a shor that's a muid, and it's a muid. You're going to kill the shor. The esrim b'shleisha with 23. Shenemar, hashar yisakel v'gam bal of yumas. The shor gets stoned, and the baal gets killed. Kamisas abayim kach misas hashar. Now, let's say a person owns a zev. He owns a wolf. Bari, he owns a bear, a lion. Badoiv, or a bear. A nemer is a leopard. A bardalis is a chaya. We don't know. I've never seen so many pshatim what a bardalis is. It goes across the board. Okay. Nachash, misasam be'esem shleisha. They all will get killed at 23. They don't go to court case. Anyone who gets rid of these guys, get rid of them. They're a public safety nuisance. Rabbi Akiva misasam be'esem shleisha 23. Question is, what's Rabbi Akiva different than the Tanakama? Guys, the Tanakama also is 23. So the Gemara will discuss that. Okay, that's the 23s. Now, ein donin loyas hashavit. Okay, now what do you mean? What's the shavit? What are you judging a shavit for? It says Rashi, guys, where it gets wide, 3 lines down. Ve'ein donin, right? Donin loyas hashavit. Shavit is ruboy shall shavit. She'avdu avodah zarah b'mezid. If roiv of the shavit, they did avodah zarah b'mezid. Loyas navi sheker, and navi sheker that you're gonna get killed with chenek. V'loyas a kohen gadol, and not a kohen gadol. Af al pi, ella al pi bezdin shel shivim yachad. So this is where you get to the next level of 71. So the next level of 71 is a shavit, where the majority of shavit we're going to judge with the avodah zarah or navi sheker or a kohen gadol.
No, the capital punishment.
Kohen gadol is capital punishment, right? Yeah, definitely capital punishment, right? If it's regular stuff, then it's only 3. Kohen gadol. The ein moitzian lemulchama hashvashus. Ela al pi bezna shel shivim ve'echad. To go out to war. To go out to war, Melchemes Rishus. Every war, as Rashi says, Melchemes Rishus, aside from the years of Kibush v'chiluk. I don't know if you're under attack is also Melchemes Mitzvah. I don't know why Rashi didn't include that in. Okay, that's also 71. Ein Moisifin ala ir v'alazaros. You want to increase Yerushalayim's kedusha, where you be able to eat Ma'aser Sheni, right? You have a kedusha, or the azaros where you eat kachei kedashim. LLP bezin shel shivim v'echad also has to be what? It has to be 71. Ein oisen Sanhedrius l'shvatim LLP bezin shel shivim v'echad. Says Rashi, guys, 4 lines down where it gets wide. Sanhedrios shal yemeshivim Sanhedria katana shal chav gimel b'chol ir v'ir. They would go ahead and establish a bezdin, a Sanhedrin of 23 in each city. We'll see the size of the city soon. Kidechsiv shaytim titin l'chol b'chol shayrecha. But tzricha bezdin agadol shebelishkas agazis latseis ulay shivam. You needed the bezdin agadol that usually sat in the lishkas agazis to go out and establish them. Yolef b'Gemara, as Rashi tells us, this will be in the Gemara. Again, a tremendous amount of information in this Mishnah. Ein oisin irani dachas LLP bezdin shel shivim v'echad. Now, if you have a Jewish city and rove of the city did avodah zara, that city it becomes an irani dachas. Everything in the city is you kill the people of the city, except obviously the people who didn't go ahead right and do the avodah zara. They get killed by the sword. They get killed by the sword. Not usually avodah zara is skila. Here they're killed by the sword, which is a little not the norm. In addition, you can't. Everything is burnt. That's erni dachas. You remember from sukkah, guys, the lulav of an erni dachas you can't use because you don't have a shear. It's considered burnt. It's not there. So you don't make an erni dachas. LLP besin shel shivim echad. Only what 71. A nice erni dachas bisfar. If a city that's on the border of Eretz Yisrael goes ahead and again does avodah zara, you won't make it into an erni dachas. You won't make it into an erni dachas because the concern is that the you won't have the protection. V'loy shalish, and nor can you make 3 consecutive ones. Avaloi senachas shtayim 1 or 2. The Gemara is going to say that they never had an erni dachas except one person saw that. We have to learn pshat that one person was never erni dachas and never a ben sayru murder, right? Never was, at least in Jewish terms, right? Sanhedrin Gedayla, Haisa shel shivim v'echad, 71. Ukatanish shel esrim v'shalish is 23. Minayin leGedayla she shel shivim v'echad. How do you know it's 71? Shenemar says Esroli shevet ish miziknei Yisrael u'Moshe al gabeyim. Gather right 70 people from Ziknei Yisrael, and Moshe is what is on top of them. So you have a total of 71. Rabbi Yehuda Aimer shivim 70, exactly 70. L'chari you need a bezdin that has to be odd, right? So they say the Rebbeinu Shalom is the 71st. Umanayin lekatana she shall esem v'shloisha. How do you know a bezdin katana is 23? Now shenemar it says v'shaftu eida v'hitzila eida. So it says eida twice, guys. Eida shefetes and eida judges. The eida matzeles and eida it goes ahead and it saves. Harikan esrim. Now obviously an eida must be 10, and you have 2 eidas, so you have 20. Uminayin le'eda shehi asara. How do you know that what an eida is asara? Shenemar. It says by the meraglim ad masay le'eda hara zois. Now we know there were 12 meraglim. Yatsu Yeshua v'kalev. You're going to deduct them too, and that's a total of 10. So you can have what 20. Now how do we get to 23? Uminayin lehevi oit shloisha. How do you know that you have to go to another 23? Imashma shenemar le'sia achei rabim lerois. It says, do not go after the majority lerois. Good? Would you have to tell me, but you do go after the majority for good? You don't have to tell me that. You can infer that. It says, don't go after the rabbin lerois. So, Shameyani, she'eya imahem l'toiva, that I'll, but for good, you do go after the majority. And came lama nema achi rabbin lahatais, loy k'tayascha l'toiva hatayascha l'ra. When you have to go ahead and judge an individual for ra'ah, meaning capital punishment, let's say, and you're going to end up that this person, based upon the majority, is going to be killed, So what are you going to have? Majority would be, if you have 23, what would the majority be? What? 12 is majority, right? Okay, so if so, you have 12 saying what? Off the hook, or guilty, let's say. 11 saying what? Okay, so you have majority of 1. It's not good. Even though L'Taiva,
11 is good.
that's good. To get him off the hook is good. What?
I mean, you need.
Right. So you need 23. So then, right, 23, there you can possibly have what? You can have the 13, 10. Right. So now, let's see Achi Rabbi Leroy. Shamei ani sheim l'toivim came. Lama nema Achi Rabbi lahatais. Like the yaskel l'toivim the yaskel l'ra. At the yaskel l'toivim al pi echad. Right. That would work. At the yaskel l'ra al pi shnayim. You need 2. So now, so the charish only bears in 22. It's only 22. In other words, you need just 2 more, right? Says the Gemara, "Vein Bezdin shakel, but Bezdin can't be an even number." So Mamela what? 23. So what's your cheshbon? What? 70, 71. 71 is 70 is the Canaan plus Moshe, according to Rabbi Yehuda. 70. 23 is Ada. Each Ada is 10 from the Meraglim. Is 20. And you have to have at least a majority of 2 to go ahead and find the person guilty of capital punishment to kill him. So that'd be 22. And you can't have what best and that's equal. So Melamat, it's going to be 23. What?
Why did the Mishnah was mentioning 2, 3, 23, and that it waited till the end to tell us.
So let me ask you a question. Did you know Shibud is deraisa? When did you find that Shbudim is deraisa?
Yesterday.
Right. No. Did you know that for Pemrik Hamafki that a Shemachinam is chayiv? When did you find out? I again, the order of Mishnayos, this is what I believe. They memorized it a certain way, and Rebbe kept that order. Again, they had songs according to Tiferes Yisrael. Guys, I will tell you Tiferes Yisrael. The first boyaz in Erchin says, "Why are you missing words? How often do you find missing words? All the time, right? Why don't you put them in?" Says the Tiferes Yisrael. He says one of the Gemara at the end Megillah says one of the ways the mnemonics to remember is a song. They memorized the song this way. The words didn't fit in. So that's why they left them out, or else they would have forgotten it. Because it was all about peh. So it's like Eile Barechev, Eile Besusim, Anachnu B'Shem Hashem Elkeinu Naskir. Now, I worry about that pasuk all the time because my Mechutin wrote it and he left out a word. Shem Hashem Naskir, Shem Hashem Elkim Naskir, right? Because that's my pasuk. Aleph and Reish. So I worry about that all the time. You're supposed to know your pasuk. When you get Achmeir Shana, you get your pasuk gives you a get out of jail free card. Okay. Anyway, so that's not the word. Hashem Hashem Elkim Naskir. Yeah.
At 23, you don't have a majority of 2.
What? You have to have the capacity majority of 2, correct? So watch. It's 12 and 22. You have it.
Huh?
12, 22. You have it, right?
Yeah, 11, 11.
So
No.
No.
20 and 10.
12 and 10.
12 and
12
10.
and 10.
You have there's your 2. And since Bezdin can't be even, you add 1 more.
23 and 10.
Got it? 12 and 10, you have majority of 2, right?
Yeah, okay.
21, you never have majority of 2. Okay, now. Be'im Bezdin shakel masif and alim oid echad. Harikan esem shleisha.
Yeah, you have 11, 11, it'd be 22.
Again, you have to have the ability to have it, Mendy. You have to have the ability to have the majority.
It's 11, 11.
It's
One say yeah, 11 people say yeah, 11 people say no, then who's the 2? You only have 1.
so you won't find them guilty.
You wouldn't have a majority of 2.
Let's say you have 12 and 11, right?
Then you'll have a majority of 2. But what
You don't have majority of
No,
2. You have majority of 1. 12, 11 is a majority of 1.
But on capital, you need 2.
Again, yes.
But you don't have.
So what happens if you find what happens if it's 12 and 11?
Then you have.
No, you don't.
So you don't have 2.
You're off the hook.
Yeah.
You have to have 13, 10.
13 and 10.
Right.
13 and 10.
Good. The Kamiye Be'ir V'Teirua Sanhedrin. How big does the city have to be right to be a Sanhedrin? Meir Be'esrim. That's 120. Reb Nechem Yoimam Asayim Mishloishim. You have 230 Keneged sorry, sarais. That's connected what? The sorry, sarais. Okay, you're going to get 10 times 23. The Chaf Gimel times 10 is 23, 230. Okay, guys, let's go back. Now we did the Mishnah, a lot of information. Now the nitty gritty of Gemara. Let's go back to the beginning, get these words down. The dafis depends on these words. Dinei mamanis b'shleisha, gezelus v'chavalos b'shleisha. So now, how would you learn this? You would learn the following. There's something called dinei mamanis. I'm not exactly sure what that is. Monetary matters. It's kind of ambiguous. Monetary matters is with 3. Gezelos, when it comes to stealing, right? Be it through pikadon, or where you would trust it to watch it, or outright stealing. The chavalos, or when you go and hit somebody, right? That's also 3. Now, aren't those monetary matters? Aren't those? That's yeah. This is not dinei nefashos. You're dealing with. You took my money. You owe me. You hit me. So what's going on? What exactly? It's very vague over here. What does this mean? So halka says the Gemara. In other words, you started off clause A. Dinei mamnis was a 3. Then you go and say what? Gezelis v'chavalis is with 3. Mashma gezelis chavalis is what? It's not dinei mamnis. It's mashma. It's not. But it is. So and for the Gemara, Amar Rabavohu, mahen ketani. What is mahen dinei mamnis? Gezelis v'chavalis. Pirish, guys, look back at the Mishnah. You didn't tell me 2 things. You told me 1 thing. Dinei mamanis, and what is dinei mamanis? Gezelis v'chavalis. Okay, excellent. Gemara's going to ask that kasha. Gemara's going to ask that extra. It's an extra word. Gemara's going to slug it up with that. Okay, but right now you're learning it's 1 thing. You know what dinei mamanis is? Dinei mamanis is gezelis v'chavalis. Now, but continues. Now continue. Aval ha'ida'is v'halva'is. Ha'ida'is, guys, listen. This is what Rashi learns. This pshat. Rashi learns that a guy's making a claim, and you have Eidim that say you are moida to him that you owe him money. That's and Havais. You have Eidim that you say you didn't owe him. You have Eidim say you did borrow from him. So it's both speaking about Eidim, it's speaking about a loan. One Eidim are saying you were moida to the loan, and one is saying that what we saw you actually borrow the money. Okay, now, but Aval Hoydais v'Lavais loy. You won't need 3 by them. They're not included in dinei mamanis. They're not included. Now, why wouldn't they be included in dinei mamanis? I would think that's classic dinei mamanis, giving a guy money and everything. So look at Rashi, guys. Haidas voice. No, Rashi before. Mahin katani. Hai gezelis v'chavalos. Perushay the dinei mamanis hu. The words gezelis v'chavalos is the explanation of the word dinei mamanis. The light tema, you shouldn't think kol dinei mamanis b'mashma. It's mashma any monetary matter. Ulamaute halvois v'aidos, and it'll be exclude lending money, or Adam saying that you borrowed, or that Adam said you were maida. Shehein boyin al gemilas chasadim, ve'ika na'ilas delis b'fnei lavin kidamin l'kamon hilkach me'atinu. Therefore, we're going to take them out of the ballpark. L'kamon mefarish b'may me'atinu. What do you mean? In other words, the following, guys. There's something called dinei mamanis, and you need 3 dayanim. I would go ahead and include gezelis chavolis, and I would not include halva v'hoida. Halva v'hoida means that you did a guy a solid. You did him a favor. You lent him money. You lent him money. It's a chesed to lend the money. So I would think, therefore, that it's not bechlal, and we'll see what you might from in a second. What does it mean? We'll see it soon. But it's not included in the words dinei mamanis b'shleisha. So therefore, here's the way you learn pshat in the Mishnah. Dinei mamanis, and you know what they are? It's gezelis v'chavolos. That's dinei mamanis, as opposed to haidas v'lavos is not. Why is it not dinei mamanis? Because it comes through gemilas chesed. It comes through an act of chesed. Okay, that's the Gemara. So back in the Gemara now. So at the gezelis v'chavolos lav dinei mamanis nenu. Amar Rabbi vohu mahin ketani mahin dinei mamanis gezelis v'chavolos. Abol haidas v'havois loy. Now they're not dinei mamanis. V'tzricha, and you need to tell me that. V'tana dinei mamanis. If you just said the word dinei mamanis, havamina da'afilo haidas v'avois. I would think that's also in the ballpark. Tani gezelis chavolos, that only them and not what, and not the haidav alva. V'tana gezelis v'chavolos. V'leikatani dinei mamanis. In other words, you're asking a kasha. You're telling me that dinei mamanis is what? is Gezela v'chavala. Just say one or the other. So if you would have said Dinei Mamonis and not mentioned Gezelas v'chavalos, I would have said, oh, included in Dinei Mamonis is Haydav Alva. Therefore, you had to tell me Haydav Alva. Now, if you would have told me, right. So, have you Tani Gezelas v'chavalos like Tani Dinei Mamonis? Have Amino who adin that filo Haydav Alvos? That's also in the ballpark. V'haydik Tani Gezelas v'chavalos mishum de'ika gimel de'ksivi b'gezelas v'chavalos ksivi. The main psukim of Gimel is written by Gezelas Chavalis. Now, one question I would have asked, fellas, that Rabbi Avi asked the question, I would have asked a different question of Avi. We begin the Masechta with 3 Dayanim, then 23, and then 71. You explained 71, you explained 23, you didn't explain 3. You didn't explain 3, I would have explained 3, right? Dinei Mamas B'Shleisha. Why didn't you explain that? You explained 71, you explained 23, why didn't you explain 3? So here's the answer. The answer is because it's flourished in the Torah. It's so clear, crystal clear in the Torah, and therefore in Shemais, in Perach Chav Beis, in Mishpatim, here's where you know the 3 guys. It's in the parsha of what? It's in the parsha of the Shemach Chinam. Ki yitin yishel reyehu kesef v'kelim lishmar. You give to your friend kesef v'kelim lishmar. V'gunav mi beis ha'ish, and it's stolen. If you find the ganif, you pay kefil. Guys, listen up. If you don't find the ganif, the nikr balabayas el elahim, you're going to bring the who to God? No, you're going to bring it to the dayan. Why is the dayan called elahim? Hang on. If you didn't steal, it says elim once. I'll call the pesha. I'll shor chama salma. I'll call aveda sheyoma kiuzeh ad elahim until the judge, Yavi Devar Shneim, Asher Yashin Elohim, whoever the judge finds guilty, Yishalim Shnayim Reyehu, you have mentioned 3 times. So in other words, if you just would have said Gezelas Chavalos, I still would have included Haydas v'Halvas. Why do you only mention Gezelas Chavalos? Because that is the Ikka source for 3 Dayanim, as it says in the Parsha, right? That Parsha is speaking about Gezela. You're stealing from what? As a shamer, you're stealing from the Bikodim. That's what Rashi began with that, not the stealing with the, right? That's the main Parsha. So if you would have just said Dinei Mamnis, I would have said Haydas V'Havas in the Parsha. If we would have just said Gezelas v'Chavalos, I would have also said Haydas in the Parsha. Why do you only mention Gezelas v'Chavalos? Because that's the Ikka 3. Memele, you had to mention both Dinei Mamnis and what? And Gezelas v'Chavalos to go ahead and exclude Haydas v'Havas. You got the cheshma, guys. Okay, good. Shmak. Now, why is the dayan called? Okay, v'nikra balabayis elakim chavalas. Okay, but hang on a second. Dika gimel t'ksiv gzelis chavalas ksiv. Gzelis t'ksiv v'nikra balabayis elahim chavalas mali chayvel begufay mali chayvel mine. What's the difference if you hit him or you hit his possessions? Tana mahein dinei mamnis gzelis chavalas. Havaldas v'avos loy. Okay, but they're not in the ballpark of that. Ulamai, concerning what are they not in the ballpark? If you're going to tell me you don't need 3, Ivam Ravavo, Shnayim Shadanu Dinei Mamanis, Ladiviako, Ain Dineim Din. Ela Delay Beinin Mumcha. You don't need what? A Mumcha. In other words, guys, so here's the difference. But you always need 3. You always need 3. By Gezelis v'Chavalos, it has to be a Mumcha. And we'll see what a Mumcha is, the person has Smicha. When it comes to Haydav Alvas, it's going to be a regular Joe, a regular guy. Now, why in the world do we call a judge Elikim? Why do we call him my God? So that I sent it out, guys. Shmak. Sent it out. Take a look. Your phone. You should have it on your phone. Everyone should have it on their phones. I send it to Mayor. Mayor, I'm sending it to you now. Okay, okay. Yeah, the last time I sent it to you, I lost the share. Okay, you'll figure that out. You have it, Streaks? Okay. Okay, this, fellas, is a Teres Chaim. We've brought him in very often. It's early Achroin. It's in Masechta Avodah Zarah, and it's Daf Ches. Masechta Avodah Daf Ches. Bitlo dini kanasais, they were matlo dini kanasais. T'chsiv, b'tashlumi kefo, shu kanas, asher yashin elahim. Whoever the Elohim finds guilty, the hainu smuchim. What does Elohim mean? These are people who have smicha. Ki the Pirish Rashi Zal. V'tama inyan, the Dayanim hasmuchim nikroyim Elohim. Why are Dayanim who have smicha called Elohim? Lefi shenimshach aleihem hashefa mimenu yisbarach. Right? From it's drawn on them, the shefa from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How's that? Ish mipi ish and Moshe Rabbeinu. It's passed down all the way from Moshe Rabbeinu. Mipi HaKadosh Baruch Hu, from the mouth of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Lefi shehu yisbarach samech es yadav al Moshe. HaKadosh Baruch Hu was put his hands on Moshe, Shnemar, v'sakoisi kapei alecha. Remember, Moshe's in the cave, and he wants to see HaKadosh Baruch Hu, kaviyachol, and he says, what? I'll pass by, and I'll put my hands in the palm, and then I'll remove it. So therefore, shal yidei kain, netzal love karnei ahoid. When Moshe, after it happened, Moshe had horns. Moshe had horns. You know, Jews have horns. Moshe had horns of light. Moshe had horns of light. Why? As a result of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, kaviyachol, putting his hands on Moshe. So that was the first smicha, right? Moshe samech liYeshua. And Moshe then went ahead, and what did he do? He was samech on Yeshua. Al kain hoyu pnei Yeshua k'nei levana. Therefore, Yeshua was like the pnei levana. Moshe was like the chama, and he was like the levana. The levana goes ahead and reflects the light of the sun. So Moshe was like the sun. He infused that to Yeshua, and now Yeshua had that ability. The Yeshua l'zekeinim, Yeshua went ahead and he was samech l'zekeinim, l'zekeinim l'neviim, dar achadar. Nimshach hashefa. This shefa that began from HaKadosh Baruch Hu to Moshe has been passed down for generations to generations to generation. Zeh achazeh al yidei hasmicha ulakach dayanim hasmuchim zeh achazeh mipiv yisparach Elohim karin elahu. Therefore, they're called what? Elohim. How beautiful is that? That's beautiful, right? They're passed down. It started with HaKadosh. It started with Elohim, and they're called Elohim because what? It started with Moshe. And it passed down. So what did we see this evening? We saw the pshat in the Mishnah that when it says over here, Dinei Mamanis b'shloisha, Gazelis v'chavalis b'shloisha, it's telling us one thing, that Dinei Mamanis is only Gazela v'chavalis b'shloisha. Dinei Mamanis, I mean, that's what Dinei Mamanis means. Hayadas v'avas is also 3. Those can be 3 hedyotis. They don't have to have smicha. They don't have to have smicha. In Eretz Yisrael, only in Eretz Yisrael they had smicha. In Babel, they didn't have smicha. That's why they couldn't judge certain knasim. You couldn't judge in Babel as a result. So, and that's pshat. So we have this long Mishnah. We have the beginning of the Gemara, and we have pshat, and Be'ez Hashem will continue tomorrow morning.
Okay.